Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming back to the Ramblers channel. We are glad to join you once again for our review episode of The Mandalorian and Grogu. We ended up recording that last night. Keep that fresh in our minds. So we're going to cut to that in just a little bit. But here to doing a little bit intro stuff, we got Jay back with us as usual on his
Yep.
school computer. But it's okay. We make do. We make do. Jay, how are you doing? How are you doing this week?
I'm good, man. I just had my last day of school a couple days ago. I've been chilling, hanging out with the family, watching Mando and Grogu. It's been a good week. It's definitely been a good weekend for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was a fun week watching it. I've only seen it one time, but I am gonna see it. I am gonna see it a second time sometime this week. I just my schedule's a little liquid right now, so I can't really tell you for sure. But before we get on to the main activities of this episode, we have a little bit of a sentimental commemoration to bring for the legendary voice actor Tom Kane, who passed away 1 week, exactly 1 week ago, last Monday. He was one of the most legendary, one of the most prominent voice actors for Star Wars: The Clone Wars. That being, of course, the narrator, who is also Admiral Yularen, same voice, and then he was also the primary voice of Yoda. The most unfortunate, event that happened with him was back in 2021. He suffered a left side stroke, which effectively ended his voice acting career because not everybody knows this because it's not a very common thing. But when you suffer a stroke, even if you survive it, you are not a functioning human being for a very long time. It requires a lot of therapy to get out of that. So that's how it kind of cues one sort of instance that it kind of went to show is that the character Yoda does appear in Tales of the Jedi, which is a 2022 project, but he does not say anything, primarily because Star Wars is they're very tentative in replacing actors and voice actors of any kind of that nature. So yeah, rest in peace to Tom Kane. You are a legend in Star Wars. You will not be forgotten. Absolutely, especially on TikTok. Your voice is kind of being a your voice is kind of being a meme
But
with
yeah,
the stuff. But yeah, that's good.
the AI Tom Kane. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. Anyways, Jay, before we get in, we're gonna do a bit of a question. We're gonna do another question gauntlet, like just like last time. We're gonna do 5 minutes on the clock this time. I will, of course, go first because I went first last time.
Yeah.
But I need to do a better job of actually thinking of questions beforehand rather than just trying to think of them on the fly and wasting time on that. All right, three, two, one, go. If you had to pick one Star Wars project to rewatch, like right now, what is something that you think you'd pick?
To rewatch. Right now, in this moment, I want to rewatch. I want. I want to rewatch Force Awakens right now because for me, like spoilers for later into the episode, but Force Awakens and Mando and Grogu are sort of fighting for that spot on my list. I won't say exactly where, but they're fighting for a certain spot on my list. And so I really want to go back and give Force Awakens another shot, especially since I've seen Mando and Grogu a couple times, just to give some clarity to my ranking.
Yeah, great idea, great idea. What's a Star Wars project that you never want to watch again?
Acolyte. Actually, no, Book of Boba Fett. I would watch Acolyte for the fight scenes. They're really cool. But yeah,
No,
Book of
no,
Boba Fett.
no, 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 you wouldn't. Stop lying on camera. You know you
But if
want
I
to
had to,
do
if you had a gun
that.
to my head, I would. Yeah, I would. But yeah, Book of Boba Fett for sure.
Yeah, within the next month, what are some things that you want to accomplish?
Just in general.
Yeah, anything can
Um.
apply.
Okay. Within the next month. Um. Gosh, that's pretty broad. Well, I'd like to get my diploma. That would be pretty good. One of our classes we're sort of teetering on, so we'll see what happens with that. But I'll definitely get my diploma. I'm excited for that. Um, I'm currently working on a few like film projects, so I want to get the budgets and the shot list for those set in stone. That would be really cool. I gotta beat Lego Batman, dude. I've been addicted on that game, so I gotta do that. And matter of fact, let's hit GM in Rivals while we're at it. We're gonna be locked in.
I don't disagree with any of this. Okay, now we're getting into some brain rot. Okay, so one of the most prominent scenes in Mandalorian and Grogu, as we see, is there's a Dejeric match. Like a bunch of monsters are put in a ring. I'm gonna name some monster characters from any Star Wars thing ever. You need to tell me who you think you'd win. Who you think would win? Okay.
Okay, that's really good.
We got Colonel Meeber Gascon. We got Grease Dritus.
Uh-huh.
We got Scuva Stev.
Okay.
We got Babu Frick, and we got BD1.
Wow. Okay. Meeber Gascon is pretty slept on now.
My bad. We also have another one. We have Salacious B. Crumb. That's the sixth one.
Ooh, dude, he's devious. He'd be sneaking up behind him and like backstabbing him. Yeah, that match, that's a tough one. I don't think Grease is gonna make it out alive. I just don't think he has he doesn't have the grit. Even though he is one of my favorite Star Wars characters, I don't think he's getting out of there. I mean, Babu Freak is pretty scrappy. Meeber Gascon is also
say that again. You said Babu Freak?
Frick, whatever. Babu Freak. Yeah. No, Babu, he's small. Like, he could probably evade. That'd be a good one. But BD1 probably has the most tactical skill. I mean, he has healing stims. He can't really use them on himself, but yeah, I'm gonna go with BD. I think he can take the edge.
Yeah, I mean, BD1's boy, like he survived Braca. Like, none of those guys are surviving Braca. He's learned from the trenches himself.
BD1 survived Darth Vader, bro. He electrocuted Darth Vader.
Yeah, true. And then last thing, sort of like so for Celebration next year, one of my big predictions, I think it's a given that we're gonna get a new Star Wars project announced of some kind. Because it happens at every one of them. Can you name me 3 sort of potential projects that you would like to see personally? Not what you think the franchise needs, just what to fulfill your personal wants.
Okay. And these are not things we have confirmed already?
Yes. Okay. Anything.
Okay. First off, I've been on this for years. We need an animated original trilogy show. Love that. That'd be my one. Second thing, I mean, this is a pipe dream. This will never happen, but I'd love to see a Battlefront 3. And then, no, actually, better than a Battlefront 3. Let's just go back to Battlefront 2 and just add stuff to that, because there's no point of making a third one. So that's what I'll say. Maybe like a re-release with updated graphics and new characters. That'd be cool. Maybe for 10th year anniversary or something. My third, I'd like to see. That's tough. I don't know. It's pretty broad. I'd like maybe maybe a movie. It's kind of niche, but maybe like a movie between 1 and 2 with like Anakin and Obi-Wan, and we could see more Mace and Yoda. I think that'd be cool. It'd have to be animated because I don't want to see those old actors with deep fake on. So, but I don't know. Something like that. That'd be cool.
You're not trying to see 45-year-old Hayden Christensen play a 15-year-old Anakin.
Yeah. Or freaking 80-year-old Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah. No, we're good.
True. Yeah. That's put a lot of makeup on. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, that's time. Now it is your turn.
Okay. I had no prep time, so let me set the timer. As I'm setting the timer, I'm gonna think of something.
Yes, sir.
Timers.
You don't need prep time though. You're not Batman.
Only Batman needs prep time. Yeah. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. top 5 favorite Star Wars hilts.
Star Wars lightsaber hilts. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a collector myself, I will say. In no particular order, uh, Obi-Wan episodes 2 and 3. I don't know if that's the same one. I know Phantom Menace one is very different. Obi-Wan's episode 2 and 3, Cal Kestis, Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker, and then I would do Darth Vader, which, if you didn't know, Darth Vader's is actually like the same model as Attack of the Clones Anakin. It's just like a slightly darker shade. And then the fifth one would probably be. I would probably do Maul's Rebel saber with like
Okay.
the crescent shape on the emitter on the side.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I had one. It's gone. Let's do if you okay. That's rough. One give me 2 glup shittos that you think would be the best blunt rotation. Let's see.
Coleman Trevor is one. I think Coleman
Okay.
Trevor can
Yeah.
get. I think Coleman Trevor can get down if he wants to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was. I don't like because I don't know what the heck he was thinking trying to fight Dooku like that. Like that dude is genuinely like he got to have an IQ test of some kind for trying to do that. But we won't know because he did not survive that. So I'll do him. Grease is a very good option.
Yeah.
Grease is actually an extremely good option. Max Rebo is an option I don't hate because you know he be in those types of environments, you know.
He's on the
But
keys.
one Rio Duran from Solo, you know, that's a great one as well. I also like any Wookiee, maybe. I don't really think it's too applicable. But I
Alright.
think if I had to come up with 2, I'm gonna say Coleman Trevor and Max Rebo. I'm gonna
Okay.
give those 2.
Alright. Alright, we got 30 seconds left. So last question is if you could pick any franchise to have like a crossover movie or show with Star Wars, what would it be? Like Star Wars and Marvel, Star Wars and DC, Star Wars and I don't know, Ninja Turtles. I don't
This
know.
is tough. This is tough because there's not really like a franchise that relates to Star Wars that much. If you stay Star Trek, I would slap you in the face, genuinely. If I had to pick one that I feel like would like kind of fit, that I think would actually be good, I would probably do DC and Star Wars. I think that's a much better. I like Marvel more, but I think DC fits better because you know DC is like full of contrasting environments, contrasting worlds like Gotham versus Metropolis. It feels like completely
Yeah.
different environments. Star Wars planets feel the exact same way. I think that's why I would say that. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So that's our sort of intro part. We're going to go ahead and cut to our review of The Mandalorian and Grogu. If you have not seen it yet, by all means, do not see this next part until you have. But this is coming out 3 days. Actually, no, it's coming out 4 days after the movie has released already. So, yeah, do so at your own diligence. All right. See you next time.
All right. Peace.
Here is our official review for The Mandalorian and Grogu. You have seen it a couple times. I've seen it once, so it's pretty fresh in our memory. We both saw opening night. You just got back from seeing it a second time. Here are our scores out of 10. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
6.5.
Yeah, I'm at a 7. Yeah, it's all right. Is what I'll say. Just like to spend 5 to 10 minutes without spoilers, just our basic thoughts of it. My biggest thing about this movie that kind of disappointed me is that it's nothing about this movie to me differentiates it from the Mandalorian show. Which honestly, even though I say it's disappointing, it's also something I kind of expected. I didn't really, based on all the trailers and what we've seen, I kind of didn't expect it to be like a whole lot different. And honestly, from the amount of content that we've gotten already, it would be kind of more difficult to because you'd have to introduce something whole entirely. Essentially, it's one of those movies that it's consistently fine, and it just doesn't really put anything over the top for you. My main critique of the movies, all in all, is that it is very mispaced. The first half is like really really fast paced, and then the second half feels very slow. It's one of those movies where it feels like the first half lasts like an hour, and the second half lasts an hour and a half. If you can kind of make that make sense. Positives though, um, I do like the world building. Going to all the worlds that we explore. Shikari was really cool. Now Hut is seeing that in live action. It's not a planet that we see quite often, but that's really cool to see. A lot of we see a lot of glups, a lot of new glups on that planet. So it's fine.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, what are your overall thoughts and ideas of the movie overall?
Yeah. So I just got back from seeing it a second time. And there were aspects that I think actually got better with the second viewing. But overall, I think my score went down. I think I'd probably have it at a 7 the first night. Now I'm down to 6.5, so not too bad. But overall, I hate this because this is what everybody says. It's so much fun. But no, it is really entertaining. The action is really good. That's probably the best thing I could say about it. No, the best thing I could say about it is the score. The music is like really good.
That's very good.
Great,
Yeah.
great composition. I like all the creatures we see. Like one of my biggest positives is how creative they are with the different creatures and the combat and the different creatures we see and the droids, and yeah, really cool. I would say the biggest thing I was going in that I was hoping would happen that didn't happen was really just oddly enough like character development. This movie, for the most part, without getting into spoilers, the characters are the same from the start to the end. And that is the biggest downside of this movie. And I think, which we can get into a little more during our spoiler segment, there were just little things they could have interjected, little lines like that would have done a world of good for this movie. But overall, I really enjoyed it. And at the end of the day, it is if this came out as a show, like part of the show, I think this would be phenomenal. But as a movie, it delivers. It's very safe, but it delivers on what it sets out to deliver, and it's entertaining, and it respects the Star Wars franchise. So, solid.
Yeah. So the basic context behind it is that we haven't had a Star Wars movie in a very long time. It's been 6.5 years since we had the last one. That being the end of the sequel trilogy, which is a period that everybody was very excited to exit from. What my overall thought on reflecting on it is that this movie does kind of feel like a really safe bridge that gets us into like a new movie metaverse, if you want to call it that, for this sort of era that we've been exploring mainly through most of the live action Disney Plus shows that we've seen. And I think that's fine. Of course, there's a lot of other movies that are being planned for other timelines. Of course, we're likely going to get Starfighter next year. Outside of that, though, like all the other movies that are being talked about, like I don't have any super high hopes of them actually coming. So it's kind of ifs, ands, or buts. Kind of if they want to take the approach of building future movies off of past ones being of course this one, Mandalorian and Grogu, and the ones that come in the future, I'd be okay with that. And I like when Star Wars movies are sort of concentralized in the same sort of timeline, and majority and like all of them are like they feel very congruent in that. So yeah, very very good. Other sort of topics that you kind of touched on without getting the super specific examples. some of the dialogue in this movie is kind of just whatever.
Yes.
About half of the dialogue in this movie is just explaining the plot. And even though, at some points that's necessary, at some points where you're just kind of like, okay, we get it. It's a good thing to be able to understand the plot very well. That's the main problem of the prequels, is that nobody's able to understand what the hell's going on in those movies. So, it's fine. But at the same time, it's like you got to have some sort of creativity
Yeah.
in it.
Yep.
And then of course there's also the acting. There's not very many sort of live action performances. Of course, you have Pedro Pascal, but he's voice acting. He's only unmasked for like 10 minutes of the movie. Uh, there's Steve Blum was Zeb. I think his voice acting is very good. I gotta say I was not super. I wasn't a big fan of how he looked. I think his first
Yeah.
appearance in Mandalorian season 3 looked phenomenal, which is why I was so excited to see him in this movie. And he just did not look the same, and I don't
He's
know why.
almost brown. Like he's almost not even
Yeah,
purple anymore.
yeah. So Journey Weaver is fine I don't know what I don't remember what her
Colonel
character is called.
something.
It's called the Colonel.
Yeah.
She kind of just gives a bland performance because she's not really required to give anything super out of the extraordinary or something. My biggest critique and the cast, Jeremy Allen White is not a voice actor, and you can tell. You specifically in the jail scene, you can definitely tell. I've seen a bunch of his stuff. I think he's a pretty good actor overall. But golly, like they did not give him anything to work with. They kind of just said, just do what you need to do and call it that.
Yeah.
I kind of just was not a fan of. I just didn't really like that Rod of the Hutt sounded like me. Like, why does a Hutt sound like me? I don't know why, but it is what it is. I guess he has the rumble in his voice that Hutts have, but outside of that, it's just not really
Yeah.
anything much. Uh, I would say my Grogu was my favorite character in this movie by
Oh,
far.
by
I think
far.
he was given so many good moments to shine, and of course he needed to be the center point of this movie, and it and it showed. Honestly, all of his best moments were in this movie, in my opinion. Uh,
Yeah.
he was by far the highlights, and of course the action scenes. I was a big fan about half of them. The fight on the Imperial base I thought was phenomenal. I really liked the bar fight on Shikari. Um, outside of that, we'll get into some others that are not quite that are a little too spoilery. But yeah, outside of that, that's kind of
Yeah.
our basic ideas. You wanna get into the nitty gritty, I suppose.
Yeah, we can. Spoiler territory. I'm down.
Yeah, continuing on the fight scenes, I thought the Dejarik monster fight in the ring was just kind of whatever. It kind of just felt like there was too much going on for it to like be exceptional. A movie fight that I kind of compared it to. If you want to compare it to another Star Wars fight, you could do the Geonosian Arena and Attack of the Clones, I guess. But one that I also it's kind of a worse version of the one in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, where they're all fighting the experiment monsters in the hallway. It just seemed like a it just seemed like a worse version
Yeah.
of that, because how the heck is Dinjarin supposed to fight these gigantic creatures? It's just kind of whatever. And of course, it has to end by getting rid of the zap ring and letting them all basically letting them all free. But that's
Jumanji style.
yeah. Going on to go starting from the beginning, I was a really big fan of the opening. I thought the opening is exactly what it needed to be personally. Just giving him the Batman introduction that he so rightfully deserves, and it's the start of the plot without you exactly needing to know what it needed to be yet. Of course, fighting on an Imperial base, and then you find out why he's there. I thought that was fine. It didn't really need to be inverse. Um, So yeah, the intro was fine. I really like the scene of the mouse droid, going through the hallways, and
Hmm.
then he's spotting them like he's some sort of Dark Knight figure. That
Yeah,
was sick in my
yeah,
opinion. That was really cool.
so hype.
Uh, and then going going to the Rebel base or the Republic base, which of course we see in Mandalorian season 3. He's taken this mission, and whenever we get to Nal Hutta, of course, it's obvious because we see the clip of him being captured by the Hutts. It's the same Hutts from the Book of Boba Fett. I know that will make you cry yourself to sleep, but it's okay.
They die, so it's fine.
Yeah, I myself, I'm just kind of like whatever. Uh, Obviously we had a pre-release clip of it, so it was kind of obvious that the Hutts were the main bad guys. I kind of wish it wasn't released before, but
Yeah,
it's kind of just whatever. What are your main thoughts on the opening? Like,
yeah,
is it your favorite? Do you believe it's your favorite part of the film? Do you believe it's not quite your favorite? What would you say?
yeah. So I think it was really solid. I don't necessarily have any notes. It's not my favorite part of the movie. Um, but I think like, dude, that entrance where he comes in like Batman in the shadows, he's freaking like strangling people with his line. The when he walks in on all the community leaders at the round table and he drops the thermal detonator down, that was awesome. Just really cool stuff from that, and the mouse droid and Grogu, that was all really cool. It's not my favorite sequence. And my main critique, I guess, is this specifically for the Imperial Warlord. I don't know if it's bad dialogue or bad acting, but God, he seemed like a horrible actor. Like that Imperial Warlord was like so mustache twirling, but not in a good way mustache twirling. Like just really, really bad. It took me out of it, actually. My first and my second time. Um and it sucks because he's like the first one with dialogue, and that just ripped me out of the scene. But yeah, it was solid. Other than that, it was solid overall. If we're talking action sequences, like you talked about, um, I loved basically all of them. Some were better than others. I think like some of the ones towards the end were kind of like when they crash through and he's on the ATRT, or not the ATRT, the Bark Speeder. That's all right, but um, the Jarek battle, I really enjoyed it personally, just because of the chaos and like the fan service of like we're getting a hollow chess game in live action. But it definitely was very messy, and that goes with um a lot of the things in this movie. Um, but overall, I think the beginning of the movie, it's very fast, but yeah, it's solid. I think the problems, you don't really notice the problems yet. The problems start to like unfold and uproot as the further along the story goes. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Going so like the first half of the movie to me is very basic. It goes a lot. It like everybody is right about it. It is Mandalorian episodes stitched into a movie,
yeah,
and it is very clear where the segments are. Not to say that that's bad. That's the way that playing it safe. Uh, there is a giant possibility that this movie would be way worse if you went the other way. But it's kind of just it's an opportunity cost. It's a consequentialist sort of decision. My big thing, as far as going to Nal Hutta, when he was walking to the hallway towards their, I don't know if they call it their throne, towards the twins' room, and you see Hutts crawling behind them through the corridor.
yeah.
I thought that was cool. Seeing Hutts in live action, we don't normally see Hutts to begin with, but seeing them in live action, I think the CGI can be hit or miss. Of course, Jabba the Hutt in the original trilogy was practical, but seeing them, CGI and live action, it can be hit or miss. I don't think it's bad,
No,
personally.
no.
Uh, and then whenever he gets to the gates, and you see those giant mech droids in the corners, immediately I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna have to fight these guys at the end, right? Isn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
And yeah, that's exactly what happened. That's
Thanks
that's
to
a
it
that's
being
a
spoiled by the
uh, it's another way of the movie being predictable, but it's no ifs or buts about it. That's fine. Um, of course, he's sent. He goes to Shikari. Shikari looks really cool. If I didn't know the name, I thought it would be. There's this one planet in the Obi-Wan show that looks exactly like it. I would have probably guessed it's that, but I don't really. It doesn't really matter too much because we don't explore that world that much either. So it could have been the same, could have not been. That's okay. And then we see a Rio Duran species. I don't know. I don't exactly remember what a species called, but four arms. This one's got the gray
yep.
beard.
Martin
Uh,
Scorsese.
yes, yes, classic Mando just going up to a merchant looking for information. He does it in like every season of the show, so it's just a classic callback to that. Looking for some information. Got some really valuable Republic credits. Shout out Watto. But and then he's looking for Rada, and then you get it is very clear from Martin Scorsese's reaction that Rada is just some infamous figure, and
Yeah.
that's how it builds up. It's like, okay, and then we just cut to Rada fighting this other gladiator, and he just falls on him and kills him. I thought that was really cool. My first reaction, holy crap, this guy's swole. I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah,
what?
dude.
That guy is a menace, and it makes sense if you've been fighting in a cage forever, um, instead of sitting on the bench like a slug like his dad was. But I was just like, oh my lord, do not. Mando does not want to mess with this guy. But then the sort of intimidation factor to me is when he goes to his cell when he's getting the massage, and Rada's just staring at the camera and giving the most monotone voice acting performance I've ever heard in Star Wars. It doesn't do anything outright terrible to me, but it's
Oh, it's
just like,
bad.
oh my lord. It's just like this could have been so much better than what it is. And it's maybe because they don't want Rada to show so much emotion. But I highly doubt that, to be honest. I'm
No.
just kind of just
No way.
like whatever. That is by far the most evident part of it. The other parts to me, I don't think are quite as bad. The ending when he's fighting, his family has his voice performance is quite a bit better there, but still, it's
Yep.
just kind of like whatever. And then, of course, very predictable. Of course, we know that they fight. I don't like that their fight only lasts 2 minutes. I think that's kind of weird, because we just see Rada like easily take out another gladiator, but then he just loses the den just like that. I'm just kind of like that.
Yeah.
That was kind of odd. It kind of just felt like a rush towards the live action Dejarik match to me, but it's another factor of the first half of the movie being very fast paced. It's just kind of like, whatever, call it what you will with that. What are your thoughts on that first sort of Shikari sort of
Yeah.
sequence?
First of all, like that song is a banger. That's what we got to start with because that carried this section. That carries this movie.
Yes.
That song is better than this whole movie. It is a very convenient section of movie. Like you're telling me he walks through this city and he doesn't see any posters of Rada or anything. He goes up to this merchant, asks him about Rada, and then looks to his left and there's a poster there the whole time. And like, I don't know, I thought that was silly. And then literally
Yeah.
right across on the other side of the street is the bar where they get salt. Like that's insane. Or I'm not sure if it was on the other side of the street, but it was nearby enough to where he was walking distance. And so I thought that was a little silly. Also, the fact that like, oh, what's his name? Not Starch. I don't remember what I forget what they called him before we learned his name was Coin, but the Imperial Warlord just happening to be the guy who's holding Rada there. It's like, I
Oh
guess
yeah,
whatever. There's been stupider contrivances in Star Wars before, so it doesn't bother me too much.
I forgot
Yeah,
which
we need
part
to
it
talk
was. What? Who was the character that showed him the picture of him as a baby? What part? What part of that? What was it? Was
Rada
it the
as a baby.
Colonel? Was it the Colonel, or was it Janu, or was it which
The
one
picture of
was it?
Rada as a baby, the twin showed him that as like,
Okay, that's what I was
yeah,
thinking. What do you? Is there any part of you that just kind of makes that it seems like that's just a little strange, or is it
that was
just like
fan service. That was fan
yeah, it's
service.
just
Like,
it's
because
just kind
like
of like
there's no reason to show him a picture of him as a baby if they know he's all ripped. But yeah,
I would
um,
I you call it fan service. I wouldn't say it's great fan service because the Clone Wars movie was the least
yeah,
popular thing that Star Wars has ever made.
yeah,
But
it's a
it
bizarre
comes out
choice.
itching, but
But yeah,
it's just like this whole first sequence of taking Rada and taking him to well, he takes him to the Republic base, but of course he doesn't show him yet because he goes to Johnny's mansion. That definitely feels like the first like sort of episode, and then that
John, yeah,
second
that's what
part
it is.
feels like the second part where he goes back to Navarro. What are your I
Yeah,
kind of do appreciate that we don't go into the Navarro city because of course, if you go to the Navarro city, it would be very weird not seeing Grief Karga. But of course,
yeah,
we can't have Grief Karga without Carl Weathers, so that makes sense.
yeah. They'd have to explain it.
So
Um, before I move on to that, I had one more thing to say about Shikari. Yeah, I need to talk about freaking Jeremy Allen White because God, that was horrible. The I'm Jabba the Hutt's son, but they cheer for me. They used to boo for me. I'm not him. It's like, oh my God, that was really no, and I'm doing it better than he did it too. Like it was literally like I don't know, like what you guys got in Oklahoma, but like if you've ever done California state testing, it's like the little robot voice, like
oh my
it's
gosh,
like if you want to read the question to you, or like you're testing the audio. I don't know what you guys do, but
I mean we have AI too, but
you do
it's
have
fine.
that. You do have that as well.
We have Speechify. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought it was a little silly how in the first half it sort of bounces back over and over and over, like, oh, he's going to get Rada. Oh, let's go, and then he's gonna try to get coin from Rada, and then we go back because I guess he doesn't need to go to the huts now because Rada knows who coin is. So then they go back and they get coin, and then they go, and then instead of going to turn in Rada, they go to Navarro. Um, it's kind of all over the
Mhm.
place. It's very fast paced. But overall, I mean, it's fine. It's whatever. It's like a Mando episode. Um, just it's not super, nothing super impressive. Moving on from that section of the movie, in my opinion, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I enjoyed this slower second half miles more than I enjoyed the first part. And I don't know if people are going to agree with that or not, but I think especially the stuff on Navarro was really cool. I like seeing the Anzellans, Embo coming in, and like because this is the first point in the movie. Up until this point in the movie, it has felt very choreographed. Like Mando just wins every fight. Everything works out for him. Everything goes right. And then when Embo shows up, there's finally some actual sense of danger in this movie. Um, and it was super cool with his wolf, and then like Grogu sneaking out and stuff. And yeah, I thought that was really cool. Yeah, everything on Navarro was really captivating. And then moving on to that, to the rest of the movie, um, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed seeing them take off Mando's helmet, and then the line of like, one day you're not going to be there to protect Grogu, and then he tries to like, I don't know if I don't know if he still has whistling birds, but he tries to do something, and then they drop him down to the what they call it, snake dragon pit, which is a really generic name, but yeah, Snake Dragon Pit. And then I really enjoyed that fight sequence. That was really cool. And then with Grogu and the Anzellans coming to break him out, that was really cool. And like you mentioned earlier, I completely agree with you. Grogu is by far the best character in this movie. He's like the only person who actually grows in this movie. And it was really captivating. I mean, I'll let you talk about this section in a second. But when we get to that part of him taking care of Mando, I thought that was the strongest point of the movie. But yeah, no. Enjoyed Navarro. I really like the snake fight scene, even though it doesn't have a lot of depth. But yeah, solid.
Yeah, going into the second half, my favorite little snippet that feels it felt like the most Star Wars scene ever is when we're looking up, when we're on Navarro, we're looking up at the sky of the ship flying in, and then Embo Embo and his wolf comes into screen looking up at it. I'm just like, oh my lord, that's such a Star Wars entrance. That was so cool.
Yeah.
My only thing, how the heck does he know that he's there? Does his home address just common knowledge? Like, does he just have that on the HoloNet? Like, I don't know. I feel like they could have given a little bit more of a clue if like the Hutts were tracking them the whole time, because I think that's very plausible. But I kind of wish that was made more evidence. Like a big strength of the first half of the movie is that every part of the plot seems very evident. That's why it's very easy to understand. But then that's also like a weakness in that it sort of concentrates on it. The second part of the movie, it feels like it feels kind of the opposite. Like maybe it doesn't feel like it's concentrated enough. Not everything is sort of explained as much as it needs to be. My least favorite little plot point from the second half is that everybody complains about, when Din falls from the poison, and like everybody talks about this, Grogu saving him sequence being very long. It's like 15 minutes. I don't have a problem with it being that long. I do have a problem with the little time lapse that we get at the very beginning of it, where we're looking at the sky and like 3 or 4 days pass. How the heck does he live that long? Like that just doesn't sound like it makes sense. That he's just able to lay there for like a week and just be fine after that. And then like that whole sequence at the end when he's able to save him from I wish we got the creature's name. I don't think they were naming him, but the creature that gives Grogu the sort of medicine food for Din. It just doesn't feel like it pays off because we don't see his recovery. We skip to the next morning and he's up. It doesn't feel rewarding at all. I felt that's a bit of a nitpick, but I feel like that was kind of just a gripe of mine. I feel like I don't have a problem with everybody else saying it's very long. I just kind of feel like it feels very unrewarding, and it also kind of just doesn't really make sense of why it should be that long. So
yeah. I guess I agree. I agree with you in some aspects of that. I feel like that time lapse thing didn't really bother me. It could have just been like an artistic touch. I don't know how many days it was, or if it was a day, or I don't know. It was done weirdly. It was edited weirdly. So I'm not sure. But yeah, it is weird that he's kind of just laying there and he's fine, and the Hutts make it seem like it's this death sentence when really he has a common cold, and so he's dying very slow. But I love the stuff Grogu's doing. He gets his little Yoda cane. He's meditating. He's building him shelter.
He builds a hut just like Yoda's hut.
He builds the hut, and like, dude, both theaters like bursted out laughing when he pushed him into the hut and his head clanked on it.
Yeah, I was cackling when you would just hear. I was like, oh,
yeah, and then he pulls him out and does it like 2 more times. Yeah,
he keeps doing it because he doesn't know better.
Yeah, and so I love that, and it's very convenient that that just near, I don't know, it's not super close by because I know Grogu is like walking around the area, but it's very convenient that he ran into like a friendly like fisherman or fisher alien guy, um, and
Yeah.
that he sort of protects Grogu. But it's sort of Star Wars coded in the nature of like people doing the right thing and helping each other, and I really like that line because in this movie you kind of got to dig for the depth, and so I really like that line where he said something to the effect at the end of like, it may not work, so you got to prepare um, to move on without him, and to and that you're not always gonna have him. And so I think that, I mean, that is the main theme of this movie.
Yeah, my favorite sort of
About
my favorite overarching, storyline from this movie, coinciding to why you like it so much. I love that we finally get like a chance of Grogu being able to save Din rather than the other
yeah,
way around. Because the
yeah,
whole other way around, in season 3, it's not like that. But the whole other way around, the seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian are about protecting Grogu from danger, or saving Grogu from impending danger.
yeah,
And then it's the opposite because Grogu has been able to learn to come into his own. So I think that's so well
yeah.
earned. I think it's
So
so well earned.
yeah, I completely agree with you on the talking about it feeling unsatisfying though. First time I watched it, I was just excited that like Mando was awake and that like he's alive. I knew he wasn't gonna die, but I was excited about that. The second time watching it, I did realize though, like Pedro Pascal is super monotone. He's like, "Hey kid, the young protect the old protect the young. This is the way." And like super nonchalant. Grogu's not really excited at all. He really has no emotion on his face. And then they're kind of like, "Let's just
Yeah,
go find a
uh,
ship."
Pedro Pascal has always been like overly monotone most of the time. That's why
Of course,
everybody
yeah,
that's why, because he's been getting so many acting gigs. That's why so many people have kind of been sick of seeing him all the time because
yeah,
he just recently joined Marvel. He's been The Last of Us. It's kind of
yeah,
it's kind of like
yeah,
they're kind of sick of
yeah.
seeing him like all over the place. But
But yeah,
yeah, I
even the
think
music, like they didn't really play it up very much when like it's this huge payoff after this much time. And I honestly think I had more emotion during the like death of Mando like sequence where he was running through the forest. Like even though I knew he wasn't gonna die, like there's no way they kill him. Um, Especially on the second watch, like that was really emotional. And done really well. So yeah, it was
yeah,
like a little lackluster at the end, but overall, best part of the movie, like by far for me.
yeah, whenever, like, the unsatisfying end of that sort of scene, and then when Din says the old protect the young, and then the young protect the old, I
Yeah,
genuinely wanted to slap Jon Favreau across the face when that line came
yeah,
up. I was just like, like, really, we gonna
so
get
on the nose.
anything better? We gonna get
Yeah,
anything better from that? It was just kind of, and then Din's just, if he's down for like a week, like, why is he just 100% in a day? It's kind of
yeah,
just like, it's kind of whatever. uh,
it's
it's
ridiculous.
it's kind of weird. What did you think of what like, he, of course he's not the main villain, but how do you think they used Envo? Like, how well do you think they used him?
I honestly, I think they used him to great effect. I wasn't looking for like characterization here. Like I wasn't expecting him. He did like he's basically the Phantom Menace Darth Maul of this movie. Like he just aura farms and he's only in it for a few minutes, but he's really cool and he's really threatening. Like every time he's on screen, it is the most entertaining parts of the movie. Um and yeah, and the CGI. First, I didn't mention this earlier, but the CGI throughout like 90% of this movie is phenomenal. There are a couple shots that are weird, but like the important parts, like Embo, look great. Um,
The
and but yeah,
wolf looked very good. The
the
wolf
wolf
looked
was amazing.
phenomenal.
Yeah, the wolf was
Yeah,
amazing, and all the huts were great. But yeah, Embo, I enjoyed Embo as a villain. Um, and I think he did exactly what he was supposed to do. That's one of the things I do not have a gripe with. I don't want to say I like him more than Maul, but I think they executed that like stoic, um, like badass type of like nonchalant villain. I think they did it executed it better here than they did in Phantom Menace. Even though I think Maul is more badass and cool, but
Yeah.
solid.
I think too. He is more so of, you know, an underutilized bounty hunter to begin with. He's
Yeah.
only in the Clone Wars a couple times. The main context clues of why, you know, he's the big deal is that he survives the box mini game from Count Dooku,
Yep.
along with Obi-Wan, who's
Squid
disguised
Games.
as Rocco Harding, and Cad Bane, and I don't remember the other names of the other hunters, but there's a couple more as well that,
Yeah.
you know, I would have
Yep.
to rewatch it because I haven't rewatched it. I haven't watched that in like
Was
7
Bosk
years or
there?
something.
Nah. No,
No, I
Bosk
don't
was in
think so.
prison.
But then
Yeah.
the last time we see him officially is in season 6 when I don't know if it's Dooku or Palpatine, but they order him to kill Clovis. That's the last time we see him, but he doesn't really do anything special in that. He's only in like one scene, so
Yeah.
he has a lot of room to grow, and I feel like they did him well. I feel like they did him really well, considering, you know, he has a couple moments that show that he's a top dog bounty hunter. I don't think they show him directly enough for me to tell if the CGI on him was good or not. I just kind of assume that it's fine because we don't see enough. I personally didn't see enough of him. I really liked the fights in Man. I mean, it's not really much of a fight, but in Mando's house, I like that he loses because, you know, he's trying to protect Grogu and the Anzellans rather than just having to fend the bounty hunter off himself. You know, he's a little distracted because, you know, he's trying to protect others and he gets zapped. You know, I thought that was good.
Mm-hmm.
I do find it kind of silly that the one Anzellan that gets captured with him is just able to easily find the others. I mean, that's another part of the movie where I'm just like, they made this a little too simple than what it should have been. But, you know, it's kind of whatever. I thought it was also hilarious that when they're escaping the palace the first time, and they get to the ship, and then Din sees that it's an Anzellan ship, and he's like, "Damn, that ship's smaller than me.
I'm staying."
So he's like, "Dang,
I gotta die here,
like,
man."
He's like, "Dang, I'm cooked." So like, yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah.
I really liked the final fight with Mando and Embo in the throne room. I wasn't so much of a fan of Rana versus the twins. I feel like there's no way that he should be able to fend them off, as, you know, well, he doesn't do it easily, but it's kind of just like, you know, a slugfest. It's Huts fighting. Speaking of that, we've never seen Huts fight in like any sort of media ever. We've only seen it in like comics and stuff. So that was a really cool thing to see. I kind of wish it was a little better. But you know, it kind of feels like it's hard to imagine, you know, making a Hut fight entertaining. So it's especially when it's a buff one versus, you know, two fat slobs. So yeah, that's kind of it. I also do love that the twins die to the snake dragon, which they keep in prison.
I love. Oh my gosh, it's so perfect that you see their freaking fat bodies go through as it's swallowing them. As it's slithering around, and you could see their giant bodies going through its like body.
Yeah,
getting
I was just like, oh my gosh. I do find it. I also find it so goofy at the end when they have to jump, and then Ron is like, "I'm scared to jump. What if it's not? What if it's too shallow?" I'm like, "What? Dude, come on, man.
What choices do you have, bro?"
Yeah, do you want to blow up? They were gonna kill you anyway. We saved you. You're just gonna let your death go in vain. But yeah.
Sometimes I remember he's still young.
Yeah. Yeah, all in all, and then the whole plot of the movie, when we get back to the Republic camp, the plot kind of ends a little too conveniently to me to just give the excuse of why the X-Wings are able to come rescue them. You know, it just kind of feels like, you know, because Coin gave it all up. The Hutts were actually working with the Empire. It makes sense, but I feel like it was kind of just an easy way out. But yeah, all in all, everything in this movie kind of just, to me, it just justifies it being fine. It's not like, the worst thing in the world, and it's also, there's nothing like over the top about it. It's just kind of there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So what I will say about that, I didn't get into the like end of the movie, so I'll talk about that real quick. I did really like that final fight with Mando and Embo, and then I guess like Grogu and the wolf, and then the Huts. Seeing the Huts like roll around was whatever. I guess is cool. And then the fact that like the Huts are so heavy they break the thing, and then seeing Grogu's force feats is really cool because when I first watched this movie, I thought it was a little ridiculous, like because in the past we've seen him force choke people, we've seen him stop like a ton of fire multiple times. Like he's really good at force fields, and so I thought it was little ridiculous how little he helps in fights here. But I guess I kind of recontextualized it this time. Um, and the feat he had in this is massive of lifting freaking Rada's big out of the pit. Like that is massive. And like I guess I sort of when I thought about it more and I was like, yeah, I guess just blocking the fire probably takes less than like actually lifting or moving things and jumping. He does a lot of jumping in this, and I love how in this movie, as opposed to the show, the two of them actually work together, and like Grogu has certain qualities that Mando doesn't have that helps him. Like when they're breaking in to break Rada out, like how he climbs up the pole and goes over and unlocks the door for him. Because he's small, obviously he has the Force. There's cool attributes about him, and they're a great duo. Um, and so I loved their tag team at the end. I specifically love when they went into the like rundown ship, and then they're like, "We can leave right now, or we can stay and fight." And then it hits the Shikari music, and they're like gearing up, and Mando gets his like disintegrating blaster again, which is really cool. Um, and
Jago,
no,
Jago
straight up, bro,
dialogue.
straight up, and like, but like it was one of the only moments that was like that was like I enjoyed that corny dialogue. That was good corny dialogue. Um, and yeah, they armored up, which is super convenient that this random abandoned ship hasn't been freaking looted by anybody. It just has like a bunch of Mando's favorite weapons just hanging out in there. um
Well, that's the
but yeah.
that's the ship that Rada came on when they picked him up on Navarro. That
Oh,
they
okay, okay.
they directly said that.
I
Still,
didn't
it's kind
realize
of
that.
weird that they have. It's really weird how they have his Amban rifle in there, because
Yeah,
that
yeah.
weapon's supposed to be like the rarest thing in the world. But
And there's like 5 of them in the closet. But yeah, final fight, really cool. Overall, this movie, it made me like, I kind of felt like a kid. I was just happy. It was like enjoyable Star Wars, like seeing the X-wings come in at the end. Like it's a really heartwarming movie. Families are gonna love this movie. Um, there's not super deep. It's not a super deep movie, but there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. I mean, the bond between Mando and Grogu grew a lot in this movie, and we got some great side characters. Like even though Zeb doesn't really have much to do, like he's really cool in here. Rada's great. Um, Embo's like super intimidating. He's really cool, and getting the world building with the Huts is awesome. Like overall, like I guess I could rant a little bit on this, but I won't. There's a lot of people online that like this like, oh, if you watch this movie, you're supporting the slop. You're supporting the advertising machine that's gonna take over the world, and Benjamin Netanyahu's gonna blow us up because you supported Disney and watched this crappy movie with bad writing. And it's like, guys, people have lost the plot online. Not everything has to be Andor. Not everything has to be a political critique. Not everything has to be the craziest thing you've ever seen in the world. Just because it's simple, just because it's a basic story, doesn't mean it's slop. If this was released in the show, people would say it's an amazing arc. It's one of the best in the show. Like, I think people they need to take a step back. You can enjoy it, you cannot enjoy it. But saying that it's like slop, or that it's not worthy of people watching, or that it's spitting on freaking Star Wars' name and ruining the brand, it's just ridiculous. So go watch the movie. It's worth a watch. Yeah, Fun time. Good time.
Yeah, that's our review. But you were talking about slop. I'll give you some slop. Pause. The fisherman character on Now Hutta. Let's get to
Yeah.
the real business here. Him versus Scuba Stev from Jedi Survivor.
Wow.
Who's winning a
Scuba
boxing match?
Stev?
Who is the best fisherman in the galaxy?
No, Scuba Stev. I don't know. Scuba Stev, he has some crazy stories. I skipped through all of them. I just spammed A and skipped through all of them. But he has some crazy stories. Like, if you're trying to 100% that game on the Codex, you got to listen to all his stories. And
I remember a big part of his stories was the Perkle. I remember that.
yes. But yeah, dude, I mean, we don't know a lot about the Mandalorian fisherman. Like, he clearly has, he's very skilled. He has about 8, like, over the fire, 8, like, basically cooked fish, keeping him warm. He stands up in the face of Embo. He tells him to call off his dog, which is pretty cool. But Scuba Stev, I don't know. Scuba Stev, I think he's experienced. He's been in there. He's been in the field, you know?
Yeah. And then last question.
Yeah.
Are you or are you not disappointed that Bo-Katan is not in this film? Because if she was, I would probably give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I think Bo-Katan alone could. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm definitely very disappointed we didn't get to see any Bo-Katan. That's the whole reason why we watched season 3, all of us. And yeah, she would have elevated this film a lot. That is one thing I will say. It's like Mando doesn't really have a crew anymore. Like, it's really just him and Grogu, and so
all of
fine.
the side characters in this movie do feel like, you know, they're not as interesting. You know,
yeah,
they're not as
because the original
as,
cast,
you know, Cara
like
Dune,
Queel,
Grief
yeah.
Karga, Queel, yes. Queel, I think, is the most interesting character, or interesting side character in the whole show.
Yeah,
season 2 doesn't really have many side characters because they all take turns, but then
every
of course there's Bo-Katan and Paz in season 3 mainly. So, you know, and the armor.
Every single one is they're either dead in real life, dead in the show, or blacklisted from Hollywood. They're, or I guess, I don't know. Bo-Katan's just busy. She's busy on Mandalore, but
it does solid. Also feel like it really does also feel like a really succeeded project when you don't have characters like. Of course, we're never going to have Grief Karga again, but it does feel weird when you don't have like the armor and Paz Vizsla and Bo-Katan to a certain extent going in there. But yeah, it does really feel like it doesn't quite feel like a Mandalorian show. It kind of just feels like, you know, a bounty, like a good cop bounty kind of movie. Yeah.
He's very much a good guy now. Like, he's been morally ambiguous throughout the show. In season 3, he's mostly good. Like, he's always been like nice to the people he likes, but he is a full-on New Republic soldier. Like, literally at the end of the movie, Sigourney Weaver's like, he's like, I don't work for the New Republic, and she's like, yeah, sure. She's like, I'm an independent contractor. She's like, yeah, sure. No, he is a New Republic like soldier at the end of the day. But honestly, I like it. It's great character development through the show.
And then last thing, you know, really a little bit of a small opinion about the movie. What did you think about the crawls, like the intro, the opening cast crawl, and the credits? I felt like you know, you had to have the iconic theme, but like it would feel really odd without it. But I thought it was good for what it was. I thought it was, you know, it's kind of like Solo. You know, it's a really small sort of introduction. Go straight into it.
Yep.
I feel like, you know, so many fans are like super disappointed that we don't have an opening crawl. I feel like an opening crawl outside of the Skywalker saga would just kind of feel out of place.
Yep.
Because it would make it seem like it's part of that storyline. Mandalorian Grogu is not part of the Skywalker saga storyline.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of is, but it's not like, you know, it's not a key contributor. You know, it's very much less.
It's a side quest. Yeah, I agree with you. If they would have done opening crawls in Rogue One and Solo, Like if they started with Rogue One with an opening crawl, we were just like, yeah, all Star Wars movies are going to have opening crawls, and sure. But because those Star Wars story movies don't have opening crawls, I think it would be a little silly to have it here. And I like that it's reserved for like those movies. It should be. Same with the score, like how we're not using very much John Williams at all. The credits, I really liked having the credits at the start of the movie. Like that's really cool. More Star Wars movies should do that. And like side note, I'm sure you've probably seen this online, but it's really cool how they put the 2 stunt performers for Mando like right under Pedro Pascal before like Sigourney Weaver, any of that. I think that's really
Yeah.
cool because we know 95% of the time it's them. It's not Pedro Pascal. He was probably only there for the snake fight and like the Sigourney Weaver scenes, and everything else he
Everything else
probably
is
was
voice
off.
recording.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thing we want to chat about. Last week I asked you where would you want this movie to rank in your Star Wars list. This is now the when we're counting the mainstream Star Wars movies. This is now 12th. This is now the 12th edition. I am here to say that I have Mandalorian Grogu at 7th in my Star Wars ranking.
Yep.
Which is behind Empire Strikes Back, New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One, and The Force Awakens. In that order, that's 1 through 6. Mandalorian Grogu is at 7, right above Solo, which would be my number 8. So
yeah. So for me, I was hoping it would be better than Solo. I don't think it's better than Solo. For me, it is in my 7th, but I know our rankings are slightly different. So Solo is in my 6th, whereas I think Solo is in your 7th. And so we have our Force Awakens and Solo swapped, I think, in our ranking. And so for me, Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, Rogue One, and Solo are all better than it. And then I think it sits right behind Solo there. And it's really neck and neck with Force Awakens. I just think Force Awakens really just gets brought down by those other 2 movies. And, you know, it's not perfect in and of itself, but I think it's slightly better than Force Awakens, slightly worse than Solo. So sitting right at my 7.
yeah, so that is our review for Mandalorian and Grogu. We are recording this not the night before we will record the intro, so it'll be kind of sort of separate parts.
Yeah.
So keep you guys informed of that. We'll take some time to record the intro, but yeah, thank you so much for joining. We'll see you later.
Peace.
See you.